Bonjour et bienvenue à notre réunion de midi. Nous avons deux annonces pour vous avant de passer à vos questions. D'abord, une mise à jour de l'agenda de la présidente. Jeudi, présidente von der Leyen ouvrira la première réunion du panel spécial sur la sécurité des enfants en ligne. Je sais qu'il y a eu beaucoup d'intérêt sur ce sujet. Vous nous avez demandé souvent quand est-ce que ce groupe entame ses travaux. Et voilà, ça se passera ce jeudi avec la participation de la présidente von der Leyen. Et passons maintenant à l'agenda de la réunion du collège de demain et aux événements de presse associés. And I will do it in English. So, tomorrow, the commissioners are expected to adopt a regulation proposal for an industrial accelerator act, another topic where there has been a lot of expectation for its adoption, so this should be tomorrow, with Executive Vice President Séjourné presenting it after the college meeting. Before that, we are organizing a technical briefing on this topic under embargo as usual to help with your reporting. The commissioners are also expected to adopt tomorrow an industrial maritime strategy and a port strategy, which will be presented by the respective commissioners and will be following the press conference on the Industrial Accelerator Act. Some of you will have already attended the technical briefing that took place this morning. We hope you found it useful to prepare your reporting on the file. Commissioners will also exchange views on a new gender equality strategy for 2026-2030 and a strategy for intergenerational fairness. And here, Executive Vice President Minzato and Commissioner Labib are expected to present the gender equality strategy on Thursday early afternoon at 2:15. This will then be followed by a press conference on the intergenerational fairness strategy, again with Executive Vice President Minzato and Commissioner Mikalev. All of these details will be confirmed by our usual written channels. And finally, I'm told that we are joined by a group of visitors who are also the winners of a challenge for the youth policy dialogue with Executive Vice President Ribeira. So welcome to our press room and congratulations on winning the prize and congratulations for your commitment. Good. With these announcements, we can now open the floor for your questions. Jorge.
Hello, Paula. Earlier today, Viktor Orban published what appears to be a letter directed to the President of the European Commission. I don't know if you received it yet or not, but he shared the full thing on social media. He's saying once again that there's evidence that there are no technical or operational reasons to keep Druzhba close, and that Zelenskyy is doing this for political reasons and that his fact-finding mission has been rejected. He then calls on you, the European Commission, to increase political pressure on Ukraine and enforce the provisions of the association agreement. How do you respond to these claims? Because they're not new, but he's making them again. Do you consider Druzhba is operational or not? Do you consider the association agreement is breached or not? Thank you.
Jorge. So let's see with Anna Kaiser if we have any new developments on the subject of the Druzhba pipeline, which has been attacked by Russia, as you know, and has been rendered non-operational following that attack. Yes, Anna Kaiser.
We have not yet We have not yet received this letter. As all correspondence, as all letters sent to us, we will read it, we will study it, and then we will reply to it. As regards developments on Druzhba, we continue with our contacts with Ukrainians. We work with all member states concerned by this, notably Slovakia and Hungary. We work very closely with them. Our priority remains the security of supply of our member states. But as regards the operation of the pipeline, these things, I do not have any update to make.
And speaking of contacts with Ukraine, I can also share with you that this afternoon President von der Leyen will have a call with President Zelenskyy, as she has it so often. Of course, they will be speaking about energy security-related items, so this could also come up in the talk, of course. Yes.
I've got two follow-ups for you and for Anna-Kaisa. Follow-up on the phone call. What is the main topic and main reason of this call? Is it energy or something else? And for Anna-Kaisa, was the Commission invited by any side of the conflict around Druzhba to perform this monitoring mission? Maybe Ukraine invited Commission officially, maybe Hungary, maybe Slovakia. What do you know about the monitoring mission? Thank you.
Thank you. So, on the call, as I mentioned and as I often refer here, President von der Leyen is in really very regular contact with President Zelenskyy on many issues, as you can imagine, and so this is part of those regular calls. Now, today we can expect that energy security will be very much the subject of the conversation, but probably also not the only one, but also in light of the developments in the Middle East. This is obviously a topic that is of great interest, and that it's extremely topical as we speak now, and hence that should be part of the discussion today.
On fact-finding mission, to my knowledge, the Commission has not taken part in any fact-finding mission, nor has there been a request from Ukraine.
Yes, please.
Hello. Okay. The European Union supports the ongoing peace processes between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Could you clarify if the issue of Armenian prisoners held in Baku is being discussed, and to what extent this issue is being raised in contacts with Azerbaijani authorities?
Thank you. Let me just check whether we have any other questions to Anna-Kaisa with her different hats. If we do, then we would get back to you later. Oui, vas-y.
Bonjour, c'est Mathieu Bion, Agence Europe. C'est plus sur le prêt de l'UE à l'Ukraine. Donc la présidente avait évoqué à Kiev des options pour contourner le veto de la Hongrie. Je veux savoir si vous avez des informations supplémentaires sur ces options.
Merci Mathieu. On n'a pas de nouveaux éléments à partager, mais le travail continue dans le sens de vraiment trouver une solution pour pouvoir débloquer ce prêt et pouvoir faire en sorte que l'Ukraine puisse bénéficier de l'engagement qui a été pris au niveau de tous les chefs d'État et de gouvernement lors du Conseil européen de décembre. Mais pas de nouveaux éléments à partager pour l'instant. D'autres questions pour Anna-Kaisa? Still? Gerardo for Anna-Kaisa? On the previous question, go ahead.
Yeah, Gerardo from Politico. It's a follow-up on the last question. I understand there's no options on the table, but at the same time, the time is running out. I mean, the Ukraine is supposed to be without money at the end of month. So is it something that you're planning to create the room for having these options? Are you in contact with leaders, with apart from Zelenskyy, President Zelenskyy this afternoon? Is there anything that you're planning to move the current statement? Thanks.
Thank you, Gerardo. Depends on what you consider no options on the table. They may not be visible, but we are working on options to precisely unblock the 90 billion euro loan. And we are very, very much aware of the fact that the clock is ticking, as you also said. And I wouldn't exclude that I mentioned earlier a phone call this afternoon between President von der Leyen and President Zelenskyy. I wouldn't exclude that this also comes up. But as said, for the moment, I don't have specific elements to share with you on this topic. Still coming back to Anna Kaiser, Philip.
Hi, yes, it's to follow up on the question on Azerbaijan, actually, because Commissioner Jurgensen is in Baku today and discussing the energy partnership with Azerbaijan. And I'm wondering if the topic of human rights and relations with Armenia are part of those discussions, or if there's simply energy-related discussions today.
Yes, Anna Kaiser.
The focus of Commissioner Jurgensen's mission to Baku is on energy topics.
Yeah. And it's also a dedicated meeting, if I remember correctly. We're talking about the meeting, isn't it an annual meeting?
Yes, it's the annual meeting that takes place in Baku to precisely discuss energy issues, and especially given the current context and current moment, a particularly timely mission that has started this morning.
So a very concrete, specific framework for this visit and this talks. Other questions to Anna Kaiser? Let me check online. Tommaso, is it for Anna Kaiser?
Yes, good afternoon. Tommaso Galavotti in Kronos. It's for Anna Kaiser. It's on the Energy Security College on Friday. I wonder if the commissioners are going to discuss about the options to decouple the electricity price from the gas price, which we see is still a huge problem because the price of gas has spiked yesterday in the TTF, and it's still high today. And Mario Draghi has been saying for years that it's high time that the EU decouples the energy price, the electricity price from the gas price. Many thanks.
So, if I understood it, Thomas, the meeting you were referring to is the orientation debate on energy and energy prices. Tommaso, I will not prejudge what will be discussed in the meeting of the college this Friday. It is an orientation debate, means that the idea is to really gather input, gather views on the subject of energy and energy prices. In particular, you mentioned one option on how to go about energy prices. I would expect that, yes, several options could be brought up in that meeting on Friday. Other questions to Anna Kaiser? Yes, Lorenzo.
Well, this issue of the decoupling the electric energy price from the gas price was mentioned also in the retreat of Aldenbizen. The President of the Commission said very clearly at the end of it that there will be an option about this. That will be presented to the leaders at the March Council on the 19th of March. So my question is, the last time, von der Leyen reminded us that actually there was no majority in the Council to revise the design of the market design actually to determine the price of electricity. But this time there's a totally different situation. So the question is this issue now, the fact that the energy prices, the gas prices actually, are going up a lot. That we can foresee a situation very similar to the one that happened at the beginning of the Ukrainian war. Is this something that would push the Commission more in favor of this option? Because the last time the Commission acted a little bit like, okay, you know, member states, there are member states that don't want it, Germany didn't want it, and the Dutch didn't want it, and so we don't do it. But this time the Commission could be very active in this. Draghi asked for that in Alden Business a few times, and it is a strong demand. Thank you.
So maybe worth putting also the discussion on Friday in the broader context, and to explain why are we having such a discussion at the level of the College of Commissioners on Friday. The issue of energy prices is absolutely critical for the competitiveness of the EU. Competitiveness of the EU is one main objective of President von der Leyen, on which she really wants to deliver through its various strands. Energy prices is one of them, right? Now, this is a concern that is not limited to the President herself, but is also and has been expressed by the leaders, notably at the last informal council dedicated to competitiveness. So that at the council, the informal council last month, this topic was very prominent, the topic of energy prices. And it is in that context also that President von der Leyen said it is time to bring up again options that had been discarded. Maybe we need to have a new look. And one of the options considered relates, of course, to the electricity market. So in that sense, we are discussing options, and that's what will also be part of the discussion on Friday, is precisely to see what are options out there that can improve the situation in terms of energy prices. Now, it so happens also that in the meantime, and without actually having been planned, imagining that we would have the developments that we had on the Middle East, obviously this topic becomes even more of an issue, and hence the discussion on Friday among the College of Commissioners is extremely timely, and will then feed indeed into the discussions of the March European Council. Good. Are there still other questions to Anna-Kaisa? No? Then we can change subjects. Moses. Sorry, I forgot. I will get back to you on Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Musa Passes Times. I would like to go back, follow up yesterday's discussion about the war in the Middle East. It was mentioned yesterday that the Commission would have this meeting with the Security Committee yesterday, and I wonder if we could hear an update, let's say, about the conclusions from that meeting, in particularly what, according to the Commission, are the main security risks from this ongoing war. And that also brings me to another question, if the Commission or the Action Service is trying to reach out to the new temporary leadership in Iran following the killing of Ayatollah Khamenei, which is shared by a person, a politician, Ali Lariani, which is considered as rather a pragmatist, and also seems to have reached out to the United States, willing to discuss those very controversial issues about their nuclear program and missile programs and other issues, on the condition that there won't be any regime change, of course. Is there any such context between the EU and this temporary leadership? And if so, I mean, what is your assessment about the chances to de-escalate? Because that is what EU has called all the time, that we need escalation, de-escalation, I mean, and constraint, and try to find a sustainable diplomatic solution to all these issues. Thank you.
Yes, so Mose, two questions. On the question of the Security College, and you may have seen that very, very exceptionally, we published a summary of the Security College yesterday. Why do I say exceptionally? Because, as the name says, it's a college discussing security issues, which are therefore confidential, so we don't usually publish any readout. But given the fact that, of course, also with the developments in the Middle East, and this was the subject of the discussions in the Security College by the commissioners yesterday, many of the issues that were brought up there can or have led also to a clear indication of what should follow from the Commission, and so we could share some elements at least, including on internal security, and just for those who may not have seen that readout, just to recall that as a result of those discussions yesterday, the Commission's work when it comes to security in the context of the Middle East will be guided by two main priorities, not exclusive priorities, but main priorities, which is to support the Member States, to protect the EU citizens from the adverse consequences and impact of the events unfolding in Iran and in the Middle East, ensuring also coordination with the Member States, of course, and there we are looking into evacuation, repatriation efforts. We're looking into reinforcing monitoring of the transport. We're looking, obviously, into energy, and we will actually, as part of that, convene an energy task force with Member States and in liaison with the International Energy Agency this week, precisely as a result of the discussions yesterday. And there is also the topic that you mentioned, Moza, on internal security, where we are keeping high vigilance and close cooperation with Europol and, again, with Member States regarding any potential internal security risks. And finally, we're also looking at the topic of migration and enhancing preparedness in cooperation with the relevant UN agencies and partner countries. But as said, the readout is published and you'll have access to it. Anwar, on the second question.
Yes, indeed. In terms of the situation on the ground and de-escalation, as you rightly put it, Mose, the whole Middle East stands to lose from the current situation and a prolonged war. This is why we remain in close contact with our partners in the region. You will have seen the different contacts that the High Representative has had with her interlocutors in the region and together with the President at her level to contribute to de-escalation, and we affirm our steadfast commitment as EU and the commitment of our Member States to safeguard regional security and stability. We will continue to contribute using all diplomatic efforts to reduce tensions and to bring about a lasting solution to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. We are also in close contact with the US, both bilaterally and in the context of the G7. The High Rep has had several discussions with her counterparts, again, in the region, for de-escalation between the US and Iran. We have, as EU, always been supportive of a diplomatic solution, but we urge Tehran to genuinely change its behavior.
Thank you, Anwar. Yes, please.
Oui, Camille Siré-Gessan de l'Agence Europe. Hier, Anwar, tu parlais d'une possible réunion UE Conseil de coopération du Golfe au niveau ministériel, si j'ai bien compris. Est-ce qu'on a des informations sur la date? Merci.
Merci. Pour l'instant, je ne peux pas donner d'horizon temporel quand il s'agit de cette réunion-là, mais nous communiquerons le moment opportun, bien évidemment.
Italy.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov Freedom. It's on Ukraine, but connected with Iran. Russian side, they today say that next round negotiation is impossible in previous location. and they did not propose any new location. President Zelenskyy said that he is ready to have negotiation in any place, even in EU. He said he proposed Austria, for instance, or other countries not from EU. What do you think about this postponing negotiation, and does EU ready to provide some place for negotiation and to provide all necessary for this negotiation? Thank you.
This would be for Anita, but I would say just as a general comment that, of course, for Russia, any excuse not to meet is a good excuse, so not very surprising. Anita, anything else to say?
Paula, you just said it. The location as such should not be used as an excuse, and what we can see right now is that Russia is using any excuse that they can get to just drag, postpone, and continue their attacks on innocent lives in Ukraine. But our objective is not changing. We stand firmly on Ukraine's side, and we are working towards achieving peace.
Thank you. Other questions on foreign affairs? Yes, Marco.
Yes, thank you. Marco Brasoni, La Stampa, is on Middle East, but more on defense side. I don't know if you... It was a follow-up to yesterday's Security College, in any case. I asked, then you say. In the readout, you clearly mentioned also the possible the spillovers that this crisis is having on the EU. We have seen yesterday practical consequences on one EU member states, namely the one who holds the presidency. We have seen yesterday and today a couple of member states pledging support in terms of defense. Greece, today was France announcing an anti-drone system. And since the drone strategy is also part of the work of the European Commission, I'm wondering whether the European Commission is going to play a role also in coordinating this support to one member state that is currently under threat, or if it's just, closely monitoring the bilateral supports that are arriving to Cyprus. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. Yes, not strictly speaking on the first. Let me just say that, unfortunately, also these developments in the Middle East are justifying all the work that has been going into the defense sector, and on which President von der Leyen has put so much focus over the past years, very much, but not only, triggered by the war in Ukraine, but yet again now we have another example which shows the need to have our own defense capabilities. Now, this being said, indeed, it is, when it comes to this type of support, it's mainly the member states who have offered support. We also understand that it's not Cyprus as such that has been struck, but the military base. But I think it's worth recalling, indeed, what we have been doing in terms of strengthening those defence capabilities. And there I would indeed ask Thomas to recall us what has been done and to what extent member states can benefit from notably funds at EU level in this domain.
Thank you, Paula. Indeed, good summary. I can maybe recall the general things that we have been doing since last year. In March, 800 billion package put on the table with the national escape clause that can be activated by our member states. And then also with SAFE and the 150 billion instrument that we have on the table. Then we came out with the roadmap at the end of last year. You were mentioning, and rightly so, drones. What is happening shows the need to be ready and to recall a little bit the flagships that we also put on the table, where we're also, of course, coordinating with member states. You have the Drone Defense Initiative, but you also have the Air Shield, the Space Shield, the Eastern Flank Watch. All of these flagships that were proposed back at the end of last year are now back here on the front. And this highlights again the need to advance on these flagships together hand in hand with our member states.
Thank you, Thomas. Now that we have Thomas on at the podium, any questions for Thomas? Yes.
Blaž Muhorčić with the Slovenian press agency. It's actually for both because it's about the president's agenda on Thursday. So this is the panel of experts that she announced in the State of the Union. And I would also like to know who will be part of this panel. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Blaž, this is the panel of experts on online safety that President von der Leyen announced in the State of the Union, and it's now its inaugural meeting that President von der Leyen is launching. Therefore, she will be there participating. And for more details, Thomas.
Yes, more details to be followed on Thursday, obviously, but I can tell you also on top of what Paula just recalled is indeed the panel will advise the President and the Commission as a whole on potential additional measures to put in place to protect our kids online. I mean, we're all aware of how terrible the situation looks like for children online. So voilà, next step is indeed on Thursday. It's the inaugural meeting, and then additional meetings will take place. And as we have announced in the cyberbullying strategy that was presented in Strasbourg last month, the goal is that this panel will then provide recommendations to the Commission still this summer, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Thomas. Other questions to Thomas? Yes, please.
Hello, Charles Cohen from Euractiv. Back on defense and on the roadmap that you just mentioned, I'm just wondering whether there's been any progress since Saturday on the flagship projects and discussions with the member states. Because I recall there was this Eastern Flank Watch that would have capabilities at sea and air as well that could also be used for Cyprus in that case. I mean, again, this is a project still in the making, but I'm wondering whether there's been progress now on this, given the latest developments in the Mediterranean.
Bonjour, Charles. Since Saturday, no particular progress has been made. We proposed the flagships last year. This shows that the Commission, I mean, we're not working in a silo. We know what we're doing, at least a little bit. So, indeed, the need for these flagships is obvious. This is why we proposed them. Now, what is happening in the current context highlights once again the need to advance on these flagships with the member states, but here's nothing fundamentally new. I mean, of course, there is a context that has massively evolved, but the need to work on these flagships and the work that we have been doing on defense, and we just recalled it here, has been going on for more than a year now, and will continue and will keep progressing with our member states.
Thank you. Thomas, other questions, Thomas? No? We move. Yes, still Thomas? No. Go ahead.
Hi, Camille Condessu from AFP. Back on Iran, if I may. In the readout of the Security College, you do mention migration and the fact that the Commission is, I quote, enhancing preparedness through closer monitoring of trends. I was wondering if you could elaborate a bit on that. Just how worried are you that there might be a big migratory wave resulting from this conflict, and how are you planning? Are there like specific calls? I know it's going to be on the menu of the Justice and Home Affairs Council on Thursday. Anything you can add on that? Thanks.
Well, just as a word of introduction, unfortunately, we know that typically whenever there are conflicts in given regions, it does trigger migration flows. Hence, this is part of the preparedness that is now being put into place in the context of the ongoing developments in the Middle East. But Marcus, with more details on that.
Thank you, Paula and Camille. Thanks for the question. What I can say is that we are closely monitoring the situation, and we are also in close contact with our partners in the region. For now, we do not have reason to believe that there are changes in the migratory flows. That's very important. However, we stay vigilant, and as said yesterday, the Commission is enhancing preparedness through closer monitoring of trends and reinforced cooperation with relevant UN agencies and partner countries. Just as a reminder, the EU's approach on asylum and migration is a robust one and a comprehensive one, meaning we have the Pact on Migration and Asylum in force and it's being implemented. The Pact also includes strengthened preparedness and coordination mechanisms. And as you know, thanks to our strong, close and sustained cooperation with partner countries along all migratory routes, arrival figures have decreased significantly in the past year, as, by the way, evidenced again today, I think the figures are out of the EU Asylum Agency that show that the arrival figures are down.
So for the moment, it's really about closer monitoring and strengthening preparedness, because we haven't seen, obviously, and it's very early, any change in the migration flow, so to say, but it's really to be prepared. The questions to Marcus. For you? Okay, we have a question online, which may be for Marcus. Karina. Karina Römischer, are you there? No. So, if no further questions...
No, do you hear me?
Last second. Yes, Karina, you made it.
Thank you. Today marks 4 years since the Republic of Moldova formally applied for EU membership. First, how would the Commission describe the current momentum of this accession process? And secondly, as Moldova prepares to advance on the remaining screening cluster this year, can you outline the expected timeline and the Commission's priorities for the next phase of negotiations, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's for Marcus, stepping in for Guillaume. Thank you, Marcus.
Very much so. Thank you, Karina, for the question. I can give the general context, maybe starting with that. The EU opened accession negotiations with Moldova in June 2024. Since then, Moldova has made a remarkable progress. The Commission's assessment is that Moldova has met the conditions required to open all clusters. We have completed the technical follow-up work with the screening last year to ensure that the Council is now in a position to open all clusters once agreement is reached. But now the decision is in the hands of Member States. Sustaining reform momentum is crucial, reinforced by the strong parliamentary support for the country's European path following the elections in September last year.
Thank you. Marcus, other questions for Marcus, also covering enlargement today? No? Then we can change topic. Yes, Silvia. Yeah.
Thank you, Silvia Solpais. It's going back to Iran and Cyprus. I know you said yesterday that there were no discussions on the 42.7 article collective defense clause, but since then we've heard recently today by Cyprus, they've asked, France is sending several reinforcements, a frigate and anti-missile systems. Cyprus has also asked Germany for help. So can you give us an update on where the discussion, if there are now some discussions? And I'm also wondering what the difference might be between invoking the clause and just asking individually to some countries for help. Does it make any difference on the involvement of Europe in this conflict?
Thank you, Silvia. So there have been no specific discussions on the activation of the mutual defense clause. We understand that the incident that occurred yesterday involved a strike that was targeting the British base in Akrotiri, and so it seems to be very clear that the Republic of Cyprus was not the target. Now, obviously, it causes anxiety in the people, and that's why we really also want to express our support, that we stand collectively with the Member States in face of any threat. And if the mutual clause was to be activated at some point, then it would be actually for the EU Member States, or in this case the EU Member State which is victim of any a claimed armed attack, to exercise the legal and political assessment before triggering the mutual defence clause. Now, Anwar is back to reply to the question from our colleague at the very beginning on Armenia and Azerbaijan. Let's see if it's Anwar or Anita. Go ahead, because I had forgotten to get back to you.
Should I repeat the question? Yes, it was about Armenian prisoners in Baku, if this issue is in the agenda of EU, and to what extent this issue is being raised in contacts with Azerbaijan.
You are talking about the prisoners, right? So as a general point, what we have been doing was always support Armenia, Azerbaijan in the peace process. We have showed our strong support, and we have been working for years with both parties and also international partners to create these conditions for lasting peace. When it comes to the issue of prisoners, we have been always very clear on the need to resolve these outstanding humanitarian issues, including the fate of missing persons and also of the Armenian detainees in Azerbaijan.
Thank you, and I think that was the missing question on foreign affairs. Other topics that you'd like to raise today? Jorge? For Balázs? Good, we haven't had Balázs yet.
Yes, for Balázs. It's mispronounced, I know, but the Russian Central Bank today announced that it had filed actually a lawsuit against the European Union because of the indefinite immobilization of the sovereign assets. We remember what happened in December. What's your reply to this lawsuit, and do you think there's any ground behind it? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just first of all say that we take note of the claim submitted by the Bank of Russia to the General Court of the EU to challenge a regulation of the Council of the European Union, which is dated from the 12th of December 2025. Now, you won't be surprised, this claim comes in a context of a growing number of Russian legal challenges concerning our support measures for Ukraine, and therefore we are of course not surprised. As regards our position, we are fully confident about the legality of this regulation and its compatibility with EU law and international law.
Good. Thank you, Balázs. Other questions to Balázs? No? Then Vitaly. A question again for you on a different topic.
Thank you, Vitaly Sizov. Freedom on enlargement. Yesterday, President Zelenskyy said that in a few days, Ukraine will be technically ready to open all 6 clusters in negotiation with EU. What is your assessment? Is it correct information? Is it really Ukraine ready to open all clusters now? What's the information? What's the last updates? Thank you.
So, Vitaly, you missed the opportunity when Marcus was here. I know it's confusing. It's confusing because he's replacing Guillaume today. But don't worry, we'll call Marcus back to see if we have news there. We well noted President Zelenskyy's announcement and commitment. We know well how committed he is to this enlargement process and to the negotiations, and we took good note of his statements on the preparation of Ukraine. By the way, this could also be a subject for the call this afternoon. Again, I won't prejudge anything that can be discussed today. But Marcus.
Thanks, Paula. Yes, I'm trying to replace Guillaume in dignity today. We have always said, and this was repeated by the President very recently, Ukraine belongs to the European family, and the Commission remains firmly committed to advancing Ukraine's accession to the European Union and to supporting the swift progress of key reforms. Despite Russia's unrelenting war of aggression, Ukraine also remains strongly committed to its EU accession path, having successfully completed the screening process and advanced on key reforms. This is clearly outlined in our latest enlargement report, and this is why we welcome the completion of the bilateral screening in record time and recall the Commission's assessment that all 6 clusters are now ready to be opened. Now the decision is in the hands of Member States. We stand ready to support Ukraine on its EU path.
Thank you. Third question, Jorge.
Yes, it's more for you. It's about enlargement in Ukraine, because last week when the president was in Kiev, we saw the press conference. Zelenskyy was calling for 27 as a clear date for Ukraine, and the president replied, "You know, from our side, dates by themselves are not possible." Does this mean that the Commission will not endorse any specific date for Ukraine's accession under any type of peace agreement? Thank you.
Jorge, yes, you noted well the reply by President von der Leyen last week in Ukraine when she was asked about the 2027, and she showed understanding for President Zelenskyy, for Ukraine, for President Zelenskyy. This is crucial, and we understand it's a country which has been fighting for its survival for 4 full years now, and the people of Ukraine see in Europe hope, see in Europe the prospect of prosperity. So we understand that Ukraine is in a rush, and we also are really very admiring of all the efforts, of all the reforms that have been going into making sure that indeed the various clusters are ready for closure and that Ukraine can move on. Now, the question of the date, of course, is linked to the process, is linked to the progress that a candidate country makes, and that's why the President also said that while we understand the importance for President Zelenskyy to put a clear date to it, we cannot have it as our reference. It's the President of Ukraine's benchmark rather than ours. Now, we are committed on our side to do all we can to bring Ukraine to move on in this process, because it has really been doing formidable work under extremely challenging conditions. Couldn't be more challenging. We're talking about a country in war, which nonetheless has been pursuing reforms and therefore needs to be encouraged. Good. Any other questions? No. That brings us to the end of our midday. Bon appétit, and see you tomorrow.